Hello YouTube family, thanks for tuning in to my videos, for those of you who do, as I try to break down the BS of our socio-political existence here on this globe. If you like the videos, please give it a like. If you've not subscribed, consider subscribing to the channel, as that will help the channel grow. And again, thanks for watching the videos. Thanks for joining me on this story, and let's jump into it, and it's about the beach. More precisely, the beach in Florida, which apparently is wide open for business. God only knows why. Florida is still in the midst of a massive coronavirus surge, and the governor is doing nothing to stop it. And this is a map highlighting Florida. You can see one pinkish area there. The rest of the map is just bright red, which means all those counties are COVID hotspots. The Delta variant is sweeping around the country. There are hotspots all over the country, but no state is as abysmal as Florida. Florida is a dumpster fire for COVID, and their governor is garbage. So they have this massive case surge. Last month in August, I mean, let's face it, it's just the beginning of September now. Last month in August, while Ron DeSantis was trying to enforce his no mask mandate law, which says that government entities, private businesses cannot mandate mask requirements for their establishment, the state of Florida was contacting states around the country asking for medical workers. They had a walkout, a doctor walkout in Florida, because the doctors were so overworked, exhausted, and fed up with constantly seeing patient after patient who was a right-wing, anti-masker, anti-vaccine COVID denier. They all don't deny the existence of COVID, but they all have this insane mentality that, COVID is nothing worse than the common cold. Oh, it by far is. The common cold isn't killing over 600,000 people a year. And, but you had a doctor walkout, which I understand. I mean, there comes a breaking point for everybody. And when you seem to be bashing your head against the wall, you're constantly treating person after person. I mean, there's just story after story of these right-wing people who are inexplicably confused as they're about to be intubated in an ICU, saying, I can't have COVID. COVID's not real. You know, you have people who are begging for the vaccine, who have had the opportunity all this time to get the vaccine and protect themselves, who are begging for the vaccine as they're about to be intubated in an ICU, and the nurses are pulling their hair out, having to tell people it's too late. You're sick now. We've got to treat your sickness. After that, you can get vaccinated, but right now you're sick with the virus. We've got to treat that. And so I understand the frustration. I understand states around the country telling Florida to go pack sand when they were calling around asking for medical workers, because states all over the country are dealing with medical worker shortages due to the COVID spike around the country. Like I said, Florida is the worst, but they are by far not the only. And even states that you think of as blue states, I mean, Nevada, where I live in Las Vegas, Nevada voted Democrat. This state voted for Biden. It's technically a blue state, but the only two blue areas in Nevada are Las Vegas and Reno. Everything else is bright red. The rest of the state is extremely right-wing. And so you have plenty of people here in this state who listen to insane right-wing politicians, who listen to the garbage off Fox News and Newsmax and OANN and Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and all these right-wing talkers who are leading people down the wrong path. As I said, DeSantis has his anti-mask mandate law, which is if you run a business, you can't require people to wear a mask to go in, or you can't require people to wear a mask to go into your business. If you're working for a school district, you can't require that kids and teachers have to wear masks at school. And DeSantis threatened to cut funding to school districts that didn't follow along with his mandate that required masks. And right now you have 2 counties that are DeSantis is withholding pay for the school boards for 2 counties because of mask mandates in those counties. And DeSantis' quote is, "Parents know what is best for their kids." Not necessarily. Not if their parents are Looney Tunes listening to doggone Laura Ingraham. Sorry, they don't know best. They're being fed a bunch of BS. They've been believing it for years because they've been watching this garbage for years, and it's ingrained in them. They just follow along with what the people on Fox News are saying, OAN, whatever. And so, no, parents don't necessarily know what's best for their kids. When it comes to public health, doctors, nurses, scientists, virologists, they know what's better for you and your kids because that's their job, that's their profession. But this insane idea that, just if the parents say they don't have to wear a mask, then they shouldn't have to wear a mask. No. You don't get to dictate whether your kid infects somebody else's child. Somebody else could be a good parent and could be requiring their kid to wear a mask. However, all the other kids having parents that listen to this nonsense garbage on the right wing could be sending their kids to school without masks and infecting teachers and other students. And it's a nightmare, especially in a state that is blowing up as bad as Florida is right now. Do you remember last year when you had all these people on the right wing bragging about how great Florida was? They opened up before everybody else. They had no requirements. Everything was fun and easy going. And they didn't have the types of cases and deaths that you saw in New York or in California, Washington State. When they were trying to make this comparison between red and blue states, which really doesn't work because, one, New York, Washington State, and California are ports of entry into this country. And so when you have people coming into this country from out of the country that have the virus, that's the first place it's taking hold at. That's why it was particularly bad in those 3 areas, because of the ports of entry. And with Florida has a big tourism industry. And the other thing you had with Florida is people going to Florida to have fun, catching coronavirus, and then going back home and spreading it around wherever they're from, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Vermont, wherever. And so now, no. Florida has always been a dumpster fire because their governor is garbage. He's complete trash. At least 8 other counties in Florida have mask requirements in school. No word yet if any pay for the school boards of those counties are going to be withheld. The 2 counties that pay is being held are Alachua and Broward counties. Judge John Cooper ruled that DeSantis' law is without authority, and mask mandates that follow CDC guidelines are reasonable because one of the things courts look at is whether something is reasonable or not. And they determined that for a school or a county, a school board, to require masks that fall in line with CDC guidelines, that's reasonable, and the governor can't take that right away from them to protect the common good in that county. And the August high in cases for Florida was 29,711 cases. As of August 31st, they had 18,608 cases on that day. These are individual days. I mean, as a country, we're back over 100,000 cases per day. And Florida is having the highest number of cases they've had ever since the coronavirus started, as far as we know. Granted, if you follow the news, you also saw that last year there was a whistleblower in Florida. Her job was to capture and put out coronavirus data, because that's one of the ways you had the CDC and places like Johns Hopkins measuring coronavirus in the country, was looking at data from state by state. And she became a whistleblower because she had gotten fired because she refused to falsify data for Ron DeSantis. As the story goes, she was told to falsify the data, to make the case numbers lower, the deaths lower, to make Ron DeSantis look better, so he could keep bragging falsely. She got fired, and then along with getting fired, she had the police raid her home. She, her husband, and her children were held at gunpoint by police as they went through her house and collected electronic items, computers, laptops, cell phones, to make sure she did not have any of Florida's COVID data that she could leak out publicly. And that was what was going on last year. Here's the numbers as we go along in Florida, as you can see here to my left. And there is a massive spike in August. It's dropped down since then and leveled off. Hopefully, it's going to keep going down. Hopefully, it'll start going down from there. But we're approaching winter again. Once again, we're facing winter, as we've not got coronavirus under control because of people not getting vaccinated, because of the fight against the vaccine, and it's morons like this guy, Ron DeSantis. And I've tried to figure out why so many people are so hostile towards the vaccines. As far as I can figure from politicians, presumably for the politicians, it is they're trying to hurt Joe Biden. They're looking at it as, if coronavirus continues being a problem later on to the end of this year and then on into next year, that's going to hurt Democrats next year in the midterms. That'll hurt Joe Biden in 2024, because people will feel like he did not do enough. He did not get a handle on coronavirus, and therefore Republicans will stand a better shot of getting elected. You have Ron DeSantis going around the country giving speeches. Presumably, he's planning on running for the Republican nomination in 2024. Just like a lot of people. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene's going around the country giving speeches. Presumably, she's going to try and run for the Republican Party nomination in 2024. This is all if Trump doesn't run. If Trump runs, all bets are off. I don't know if these people who have tried to become massive Trump bootlickers will fight Trump in a primary, or if they'll just concede to Trump and let things play out the way they play out. But DeSantis, like a lot of right-wing politicians, are trying to out-Trump one another. They're trying to do the stupidest thing possible. Do I think Ron DeSantis is as dumb as Trump? No. That's why Ron DeSantis is more dangerous than Trump. He's not as dumb as Trump. Trump is just a clueless imbecile. Ron DeSantis knows what he's doing. Ron DeSantis is playing a game. He's playing a game where he plays mini-Trump. And it's been working. So far in polls among Republicans, he comes in very close number 2 behind Donald Trump for people's choice for a presidential candidate in 2024. And as we get further from Trump's presidency and closer to 2024, he may move ahead of Trump. He may become more popular than Trump, which will be a landmine field he'll have to dance through. He'll have to dance around trying to figure out how to not make Trump feel like he's insulted, make Trump come out attacking him, while trying to ride that wave of people liking DeSantis right around the same level they like Trump at. He's playing a political game, and he's playing it with people's lives. There is a body count for the game this a-hole is playing. And people in Florida are dying. And he's willing to fudge numbers. He's willing to lie, cheat, and steal for money and power. Because so many people, and I'm not saying, before you start attacking me, with this both sidesing crap, what aboutisms and stuff, I realize there are plenty of Democrats. The vast majority of the Democrat Party also play political games for money and power. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about Florida right now and Ron DeSantis. I know there are Democrats that are on the same level as DeSantis. No, not at all. There are plenty of Democrats I can't stand, but I wouldn't say they're on the same level as DeSantis. Because Democrats weren't playing games with vaccinations and things when Republicans had power last year. They were wanting the same thing that I want, for people to get vaccinated, for treatments to come out that work, so if people get sick, they can get treated and not die. DeSantis, people like DeSantis, the governor of Florida, people like Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, they don't care if you or I die. They don't care about the peasants. We don't matter to them. They don't care if we live or die. They're willing to sacrifice us in order to achieve some higher step. The way they look at it, they're playing chess and we're the pawns. They're willing to sacrifice all the pawns in order to get checkmate, to get into the next higher office. It's disgusting, and the Republican Party supporters shouldn't go for this crap, but they seem to be doing it. They seem to be falling for it hook, line, and sinker. I don't get it. I understand it's probably a matter of years of Fox News pounding propaganda into their head, and so all they got in there now is propaganda. But it's unfortunate. Florida is a complete dumpster fire, and their governor is trash. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.